Hi everyone, we are live, and before I welcome our guest, I'm going to just reduce the music and check if I am check 1 2 if I am live on LinkedIn, and I am already live on YouTube. I think I'm going just to monitor LinkedIn, and then just checking how are you feeling, remembering that you are a remarkable leader. And am I live on LinkedIn? I will check. Happy to welcome you. Yes, I am live on LinkedIn. I'm going to cut the sound here. Yes. So welcome everyone. Welcome Mike. I see already April and Mike are on fire. And so I'm happy to allow you to go on stage. So right now I'm going to cut the music. And before I welcome amazing human beings on stage, I would like to and welcome you live and welcome also the replay team that will watch later on. And just a couple of announcements. I am presenting Rebel with a Cause. I am a co-author aside 19 other co-authors, and this will be dedicated to Jess. And we will have a session tomorrow evening, US time, with CJ explaining our launch. And so I am also part of the 50 Inspirational Connections. And I would like to thank again CJ and Susanna for their amazing presence. And we were having great times during the launch of Beyond Boundaries. We will have a great time about Rebuild with a Cause. And last but not least, thank you also, Jenlin, for this amazing logo that I will use more and more. I am on fire right now. And last but not least, thank you also, Mike, for his amazing community of the Hounds of Business. The Hounds are amazing. So with that, I'm going now to welcome on stage Jackie, Tabatha,
Hello.
and Kristin, la 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 la, and Sharon and Michelle will join probably a bit later. I don't know about Sharon, but she told me that she probably have another thing to deal with, but hopefully that she will join. And after 62 minutes, I will open the stage with the public so that we can have also discussion between those that would like to join the stage. And Jackie and then Tabatha and then Christine, feel free to present yourself.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Jackie O. You ladies and gentlemen already know me, but for anyone else out there, um, I help people to find their divinity without sacrificing time, flavor, or sanity, and that includes tutoring students. By the way, which is why I love to be part of this community that you are having today to talk about education and students. I myself also am a mom, so I have a 15-year-old in high school, and so I help her with her studies. But what could be more pressing than to talk about the future of our kids and how we can make it better? So I will pass the baton to someone else. So thank you for having me here.
With joy. And now it's your turn, Tabatha, and you are on mute.
I just want to say Jackie O. I think that's such a cool name. Anyway, my name is Tabatha Barron, and I am the creator and founder of Keeping Your Kids Safe. Because of an incident that happened to our family, I decided to create a platform that allows each child to effectively communicate their way home. Parents get real-time text messages during that dismissal process, allowing each child to feel safe as they go ahead and make their way to their next destination. The beauty of our program is it does cover 100% of the school population. That means that in an elementary school campus walkers and bikers, car riders, childcare bus riders, and yellow bus riders all get scanned off of an elementary school campus, and everyone is safe at home. Thank you. Oh, Kristen's now on mute.
You are on mute. You are still on mute. No. You are still on mute. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's in my side, but no, I see you with your mic open in my side. So I don't know what happened. Well, in waiting that Kristin recovers her technical voice on Restream, yeah, I don't know neither, because in my side, you are mic open. So I don't know. It might be in your side. Everyone is able to hear Kristin? That's strange. I cannot hear Kristin.
Hopefully reconnecting, she'll be able to have sound.
I'm just checking in LinkedIn. No, in LinkedIn, it's also on mute, I think. So, Kristin, feel free to come back. And aside that, Tabatha, would you like to, because my brain is still functioning, would you like to talk more about your mission and what you are doing right now?
Oh, you're talking about for me. Oh,
yeah.
I remember where you find me. Okay. Ultimately, I'm all about child safety. So my business is about the dismissal, the transit to and from school for any child, K through 12, but primarily K through 8 is a target, right? To make sure that they make their way home. I got really passionate about that because when I learned my 5-year-old niece was ignored, ultimately, and said no, what she was trying to explain, hey, this isn't my bus, when that was ignored, I realized that there was something bigger going on, that we haven't forgotten how to listen to other people. And so the only thing that adults seem to listen to is technology. So adding that in actually will help to bring that forward for other people. But in the process of all of this, we started to uncover other things. And we realized that the numbers are getting lower in school. Kids are struggling to go to school. And then my mission started to expand. It started to be able to say, okay, I'm on the other side of having children in school, but that doesn't mean that relieves me of my participation and contribution into that space. Children are afraid to go to school. We just had another school shooting. At the end of the day, we are all responsible for ensuring the safety of those children. And if we're not able to do that, then what are we doing? These children should never be in a situation where they feel as though they are so they're afraid to go to school. Some can't go home. They're just, everything's in turmoil. And we as the adults in the room should have more of a active role in controlling and solving some of those. And I know a lot of times right now, I think that's the thing that's on my mind. We talk about, everybody's talking about guns, guns, guns. The issue is never going to be the gun. I don't care about your guns. You can keep your guns. You can keep your bullets. The question becomes, why does a child feel like it is the most appropriate thing to do to pick up a gun to solve a problem? If we can answer that question, we can probably help to solve and reduce the amount of gun violence that's happening in our homes and also in our schools. So it's never going to be the guns. It's never going to be who bought it or anything like that. It's going to be 100% about why did they make that specific decision? What was it about this that is happening that causes them to put everyone else in harm's way? And we have to start put our egos down and say, what can we do better? Because now, like I've said before, Michigan set a precedence that parents can now be charged and convicted and put in jail for the crimes of their children. And now you just had this gentleman down in Georgia, his dad, the young boy's dad, has been arrested too, and they're charging him also with those murders. We have got to figure this out because this is getting worse, and our children are in the middle. And that is what my biggest thing has been. So I've been roaring about that probably all year.
Thank you for your mission. Thank you so much for your mission. And I'm not a parent, but at the same time, it's about the next generations and about me living things. Of course, I'm not in the US, so I was blessed to not have to deal with guns. But you are so true. Whatever it's not the gun the issue. The issue is the ability to have emotional intelligence, to be able to talk to each other, and to find a way that we can talk to each other. And whether it's guns, it could be also cutters or anything, or acid, because it's a tool, and they are using tools to express their disagreement, where they can use their mouth and their heart and brain. So now I pass the baton to Kristin.
Can you hear me now?
Yay!
Yay! I don't know what was going on. There's a thunderstorm here, so I turned everything off and booted it up. So hopefully it will continue working for me. But I'm Kristin Norai, and I am an educator of over 25 years. I work currently as a professional development specialist and coach, special education advocate, and I also am the co-founder of Inspire Ed Solutions, which is an organization to help re-engage parents in their child's education and hopefully bridge the gap between home and school.
Thank you so much. And I will take some time to acknowledge our audience, Optimistic Station, who is Rashida, I think, because I know she's really optimistic. So thank you for some blessings. Amazing, yes. And also thank you, Michelle, who will join us a bit later in 10 minutes, I think. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, stars. We are stars. Yes. And then Lisa, thank you so much, Lisa, for joining. And any question or any comment. Right now, we can hear Kristin. So she's back, and it's amazing. So whoever one would learn, it is yours. Whoever wants to take the baton, it is yours. Oops, my mic is okay. Whoever wants to take the baton is yours.
We can hear you. All right. So if we continue on, so at the end of the day, this all stems probably from some type of mental health crisis, right? So no one wakes up one day and makes a decision to do something so harmful to so many other people. But good job to those students and that team for what they did, because they acted pretty fast to get to only have 4 people die in that situation. But it leads you to ask the question, what is happening that our children are choosing a different path? Because when we were younger, we would have a disagreement, or we would have a problem, and we would take care of it in the hallways and on the outside after school, right? And that's not happening anymore. Something else is happening, and that's a mental health crisis. That's something that's going on for all of us. Adults are having a really hard time. Life is very challenging, but continuing to ignore those signs and these behaviors and not doing anything about it is doing nothing but allowing it to continue to perpetuate over and over and over again. Now, teachers have a really hard time because there's no kind of protection in some cases. But how do we get to the place where we're able to provide a little bit more mental health support without carrying on the stigma that, oh, you're this or that? That would be a really good start.
I think you bring up a really good point, Tabitha. I was just in a school this past week and doing training on cultural competence and understanding more about children in the classroom, especially kids that are coming from mental health situations or trauma-informed backgrounds. And a lot of times I feel like the teacher's attitude at the beginning of the trainings is, I can't do this. This is just one more thing you're asking me to do on top of everything else. But it really needs to be the foundation of what they're doing. Everything else should come after the mental health components are taken care of, and we've got those things in place. I think our school systems are working backwards, where we put academics before everything. And we need to be looking at our children from the standpoint of their social emotional well-being from a very young age. The prison to pipeline is no longer based on third grade reading. It's based on preschool behavior. And that change in and of itself is absolutely terrifying when you think about it's behavioral, and that means we're in control of this, and we could get better control back of it if we did something to help support our kids.
I didn't even think about that, but yes, that is a big thing for me too. I feel as though that's not okay. So because of previous behaviors, but remember, we are a mirror image of some of our environment. And if we don't even control our environment, how are we supposed to be able to control what's coming out of it? And if that's by design, shame on those people who design those type of models. But it's our responsibility to look around and realize it's no longer working. So what do we do to get out of it?
Absolutely.
I love all these things that you're both talking about, Kristin and Tabatha. And I absolutely agree that the scope of what is all around being educated in our schools is so much more broad than simply just the academics, which I totally agree with. I have a special, unique situation for what I do, in that I go to people's homes or I go meet them at a school, but usually that's after they've gotten to a point where they know that we're on track and we're doing what we need to be doing. But I go into the homes and I always kind of evaluate the whole situation, and obviously not every kid is able to get a tutor to come to them. I'm sure that's a certain slice of the population, and so I see a different whole category, or just a different group of kids than you all do. And so what I try to encourage the kids, first of all, is to talk to me about what the biggest problem is. What is it that's really challenging? Basically, why am I here to help you? Your parents seem to think that there's a problem. And so I'm really grateful that I have the skills of also doing therapy, polarity therapy and Reiki and healing work, because then I can step back from the academics to really listen in also. And it's interesting because, of course, the parents oftentimes say different things than what's going on with the kids. And so I need to be the conduit to help with the communication with that. And I think that's where a lot of the problems are. Either the kids don't want to listen to their parents, or they only listen to their parents and they don't want to listen to the teachers, or it's the opposite. So I don't know if you're finding that too, but last year I had to take or I should say last semester, back in the springtime, I had to take extra time with this one particular student because we literally could not figure out what was wrong. And after a while, so I think that it involves a lot of communication with teachers, kids, and the parents. So there's like three involved. And I always encourage the kids, listen, no matter what I say, I need you to talk to the teacher. You've got to ask them these kind of questions. And if we're not clear, then we're not able to help. We need to get the assignment done. But if we're not clear on what the teacher is actually wanting or needing, then we have to ask them. I don't have direct contact with the teachers myself, so I rely on the students to talk to you ladies. And
I'm not in the classroom.
Oh, okay.
I can't be in the classroom. I'm not interested in being a teacher. I just feel like this. Here's my deal. Home is teacher number 1, school teacher number 2, community teacher number 3. At the end of the day, everyone that this child comes in contact with will teach them something. It'll teach them something negative or something positive. It just really depends on the engagement. But we all are responsible for this, because when we turn blind eye to certain things that people are doing, that's contributing to this, and then at the end of the day, people want to silo everything, and that's why things are getting worse. So you're talking about a group of children that you handle and deal with, but at the end of the day, so that's a different subset of students in the public system, right? And we get that. But the mental health aspect hits all of them. They're just in different realms. So your group will have it, and pushing children to actually go and talk to people who they may not feel comfortable talking to, but they have to, is actually anxiety inducing. So what do we tell them? What tools do we provide to them that gives them the ability to be able to have that hard conversation with someone who and they're very uncomfortable? And that's going to be K through 12. And even as adults, we all have a hard time doing it with some people. We don't always want to be confrontational, and some of us don't have the tools to do that. Hence the reason why mental health has grown to this, unmanageable situation that we're all in right now.
Well, you bring up a really good point, Tabatha. The other thing that I think it's important to mention, the World Health Organization says 1 in 7 teenagers experience some sort of mental health disorder. So if it's that many of our population, we're talking about more than 10% of our population that are having a problem by the age, of becoming a teenager. We need to be doing something more to help support them proactively, so that hopefully some of those things maybe, can be treated and helped, so that the coping skills are in place and kids don't have those negative connotations with getting help when they're later in life.
Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love those points that you made, because it's true. There are questions that I also ask about maybe why are these questions not being asked. And yes, if there's trouble in the classroom, if there's maybe even troubles with that particular teacher, then I need to talk to the parent about this, because yes, maybe the kid is suffering from stress to be talking about it. And even my own daughter, there are people that she'd rather not talk to. And it's interesting, right? Because we need to dig a little deeper to find out either why, or let's look into this and maybe even talk to the school themselves to figure out maybe what's going on to help the kid. So this is an amazing topic in mental health. I agree. Where do we go to talk to? I guess it depends on the individual kid about who they need to talk to, if they need to go to the professionals at the school for the mental support. I think that's
but they're not there.
I was going to say
they're not there.
Yeah, they don't have them, and that's one of the things that concerns me.
They only call them in. Okay, let me say this. I don't work there. It only appears that they call them in after a massive event. So every time there is a major event that happens at a school, they will call in this group of people that come and hang out and try to help those grieving specialists and those counselors and things. But they only call after a situation. But ultimately, mindfulness, I think every teacher has 3 to 5 minutes to do attendance every period. 3 to 5 minutes, you can turn on mute on this small little music or whatever and get that mindfulness taken care of. Have them meditate and get prepared to get going. But that gives you space to do your 3 to 5 minutes for attendance, and that gives them an opportunity to get centered, right? But then that's a tool that can be used in a school, and it doesn't cost anything, and it helps people to get ready to receive and not have these things. Because these grief counselors, after the fact, man, PTSD is something fierce, and anybody can get it. And having some of the things happen to these kids that is happening in the schools is not okay. We've got to want to do something different, especially when we know 44% report that they're depressed, and 90% of the students are sleep deprived, and at least a year and a half behind in education.
Right.
So all contributing factors to their mental well-being and what's going on.
Well, and you're so right. Mental health, is impacted significantly by, there is, when children have mental health illnesses of some kind, it's significantly impacting their ability to learn and develop in the classroom, because they're being taken over by that mental health issue. And one of the things, just to piggyback on what Tabatha was saying about in the schools, I was a behavior specialist in the schools and helped provide mental health services to students. But at the end of 2022, my position was eliminated because COVID funding ran out. And we were told your position's no longer needed. It wasn't a matter of no longer needed, as it's no longer being funded anymore. So there are a lot of, educators, like I chose not to remain in the public schools and have been working since then to try and have a bigger global impact on education, because I just see more and more being piled on the classroom teacher, and they're now being expected to provide that mental health support to kids as well. And it's just one more thing that, they don't have training for. A lot of them, a lot of schools are starting to get on board and do more training for social emotional learning and that kind of stuff. But it's new to a lot of teachers, and it's, feeling like just one more thing being put on their plates.
That's the part I just don't get. I don't get the part where someone made a decision that your emotional well-being wasn't enough to continue to participate in that, even after grant funding.
Right.
So that would have been something you should have been able to budget for in the upcoming years, because you've
they
seen
threw out the whole curriculum. It wasn't just me. They got rid of the whole curriculum that went with me.
Here comes Michelle. Welcome, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle.
Hey, so I just want to say, I've been getting myself put together and handling my child, but I've been listening. And first of all, Ollie, thank you for today. I always thank you for today. And then you ladies, you guys are phenomenal. And I appreciate the work you do. And I am hopeful that coming in as a aggressive parent advocate, maybe you guys all got some questions, or I think when you get a little bit more knowledge on my story with my child, you guys might be a little mind blown at the situation I'm battling. But listening to all of you, I'm going to say last year, I exactly told my daughter's school that. I said, F your academics. My child's mental health is priority. I am her mother. I am not her academic teacher. I am her mother, and this is not okay. And I withdrew her from a school system and put her in an online system. We'll get into it. I just want to let you guys know, our children's mental health has got to be priority, period. Yeah. How are they going to successfully learn anything to be positive, impacting future leaders if they don't even know how to deal with their emotions or get through a school day with bullies or whatever they're situated with? How are they even going to learn the knowledge they need if they can't even handle their own internal emotion?
Oh, yeah.
But I'll do you one better. Everybody's mental health should be number one priority. When you do not have mental health as the one thing that cracks everybody and makes us, you won't have all this violence in the street. You won't have all these people doing these things, because that part won't be the thing that drives them to do that. But we have to make it so that mental health being a thing for everyone, stop trying to put everybody in these boxes. But at the same time, when we turn around, if we don't have our stuff together, how are we going to teach our children to do something or help themselves? And so if somebody is struggling, don't sit there and watch them struggle. Say, hey, how can I help you? Yeah. Hey, what can I do to support you? Hey, I think you can go and talk to this person, because I think that they are willing and able to help you. But not just sitting there not doing anything does not help anyone.
That's a good point.
And I think there's a few things that I've been learning over the recent years, and it's actually like it's really helped me become a stronger advocate and become more understanding of the mental health and the struggles with the stigma. I was raised in the household where the family business doesn't leave the walls of your home. You don't talk about things. Once it's done, it's done. You don't bring it back up. And I think that right now we are literally in this time that's where we're at in the middle. We're finally becoming the adults to realize that our childhood, that was not okay. But then we got to find that courage and strength internally to look at our families and say, no, that wasn't okay. And I'm going to do it different for my child. And I think the parents that are in that situation, myself is where I'm primarily pulling this from, is that to be a person in a situation where you have to look at your family and fully walk away, 100% no contact. So you have to commit to becoming a single parent with no support system because you know that the support system that you have is toxic and dysfunctional and it's not okay. I had to make that decision to walk away when I'm like, what the hell am I exposing my child to? Only thing I'm doing right now is showing her that just because people say this is family, it's okay to be treated like this as a human. And I think that a lot of people that's a scary reality. And I'm not gonna I was scared terribly, but I knew it wasn't about me at this point no more. I mean, it was obviously it's got to be, but I had to ensure that I was doing mindfully what was going to be best for her. And a lot of people in our age range, I'm not saying I feel old, so I hope I don't think you all, I'm not calling nobody old, but I'm just saying, I think that, my generation we're in this gap where, you're pulled one way and then you're pulled another way and you're stuck in that middle battling for what's right.
Yeah. I think we spend the rest of our lives trying to get over the first 18 years of our lives, right? And
Yes.
if we're looking at that right now, if we as the adults are saying, oh my gosh, the first 18 years, I don't think that was okay. Imagine what your children are going through right now, because there are still things that we do to them that are still not okay, but we can't undo all the things all at once because we don't recognize them and they have to come in stages.
Yes, and I will say something. It's about also. It's not okay to normalize. It's not okay to normalize things that are toxic. And I will say also the children are not only learning within the classroom. Children are learning 24/7 within the family house, within the street, where even before or after school. Because I at my time there was also parents that was not able to drop their kids at school on time. So they were dropping them earlier. What to do with these children before the classroom, and also after classroom, parents that are working until 6 or 7 p.m. And so the children are within the school, but outside of the classroom to make homework or whatever. So it's all these aspects. And when they are not safe at school, they are safe in, and even if imagine in the family household, if they are not safe there, and in the street, if they are not safe in the street. So it's like also I was during my neuroscience coaching path, I was learning that a child or anyone in fact cannot learn if the amygdala is triggered, if it feels unsafe. So they are learning other things than what they could learn. And also one last thing I would like to add to spread out is that the school should be more about emoting 36 different topics into the brain, hoping that they can express that. So it's also having the heart that is the most important. Thank you so much.
Kristin, when did they switch from half-day kinder over to full day? Because when that happened, and you could tell there was a shift in a lot of things after that.
Since I've been teaching for 25 years, I have always worked in schools with kindergarten that was full day. So 1999 was, I know, at least then.
Mine was still in half.
My daughter attended full.
Okay.
So what I guess I would want to know, because I've been listening to different things everybody's been saying, I guess my question is, where are each of you guys located, geographically? Because definitely from state to state versus nationally versus globally, it's become so apparent to me in this journey. It is vastly different.
Yeah.
Oh, even within a district, my experience, I started my career in Washington, D.C. suburbs and in Chevy Chase, Maryland, and worked there, which was very affluent. And after about 7 years, I moved just 13 miles down the road to another elementary school that was Title I funded. And it was in Rockville, Maryland, right next door to where I had been. And the vast difference between the two buildings, one was absolutely perfect, pristine, had everything you could imagine. And then the lower socioeconomic school had nothing. I was in a trailer out back and was handed a ream of paper and some markers to start the year. So it just is amazing, the difference, even in that same district. And that was a pretty predominant district in the United States, very highly respected, Montgomery County Public Schools, Maryland. But I'm now in Wilmington, North Carolina. So I've moved south, and I'm experiencing a much different world than even what I grew up in, living in the DC suburbs.
And I'm currently in Texas, but I'm actually, so I've had PA and Texas. So I'm going both sides. And I've seen, so when I grew up in the city, Pittsburgh Public Schools, so I went through it first, right? Then I refused to allow my children to go through a very similar experience. So I sent them into a different school system that was outside of the city, went there and had that experience. And I learned it wasn't that far from what I experienced in the city. So coming down here was a different experience. And over time, we started to notice those same elements creeping in as well. So it just really depends on the leadership and what that area wants to project for the children. So if they're looking for a better outcome, I'm noticing they'll add the money into the schools and their environment. They'll go ahead and do the investment where it counts the most, and parents are happy and satisfied with what's happening. But if it's an area where those people are not, that's not their primary, I think there is definitely a difference.
Where you live at, do they do the levies that during voting for the parents to have to decide on the additional money, things like that?
So you're talking about the bond. So yeah, so they do bonds down here. So I know the one district just did a bond. I don't like the way they do these things, but they bonded their area for $1.2 billion. And I was like, why are we doing this? What are we doing? So you're pulling so much money, forcing the families to go out and have to make more money to keep that money intact, to keep their children in a school. So it's this catch-22, and everybody's caught in their hamster wheel, and the child is in the middle being pulled. Because if you think about it, if the parents have to make more money, they have to trade their more time for more money, means that they remove that time from the child that is impacted more so by the person that they're with, right? So the more time with somebody that you don't want them with, and less time with you doesn't give you the ability to pour into your child everything you want them to have. And you then start to beat up you kind of go back and forth between the two. But yeah, okay, that's it for me.
Like the crazy thing is though, like, see, you guys are all on the professional side of it, and I'm on the parent side of it. And you go to vote, and you see levies, and you see them, campaigning it and trying to justify it, because always they're going to tell you all the greatness that's going to come from it. But what I've learned through the years, that there's a lot of withheld information that's legally allowed when they're doing these bonds and levies. And that if the parents actually took the time to really begin educating themselves and digging into the realities of these from a parent side, and maybe if the professional side, maybe kind of, I'm not saying you guys aren't woke, but like, wake up, realize these parents are not aware. Like, why? But like, awareness and education are the two most important things if we want to create a change that is going to impact in a positive way. So like, how are you guys, like, you guys will be upset if levies don't pass because you didn't get more money, but then we're sitting here as parents like, that $2.7 million levy just passed not even 2 years ago. Why could you need more money when I'm still seeing my child go without things and struggle? Like, this don't make sense. Help me make it make sense. And that was why I asked that question, was because it's awareness and it's knowledge, and it's having the uncomfortable conversations that have to start happening. And it's Jackie, I want to know where you're at too. I want to get your.
But one second before you jump. Oh, yes, I wanted to say something before. So you talked about the fact that it's parents. No, wake up, people.
It's the whole community.
You don't have a child Just because
It's the
you do not
whole
have a child
community.
in the system does not mean that those taxes don't come out of your pay. So if you are in an area and you do not, and you notice that those kids don't have no manners, no behavior, bad behavior, they have behavioral issues, kicking over your trash can, throwing trash out, things like that, you can kind of start to tell what your schools are doing, because that behavior is not, those type of behaviors are fostered in places where it's acceptable. So what I'm saying is that a lot of people are like, parents. No, people. If you own a house, you have taxes that they are charging against you. And if you are not paying attention, $1.2 billion, and you working harder, and those children become your employees, or your dentist, or your doctor, or the person who cuts your grass.
And literally one of the school districts my daughter was enrolled in previously, so long as your child is enrolled in their school district, your property tax is automatically getting additionally charged because you have a student in the school system. And people don't even realize that, because they'll just get their property taxes and they just go pay what it says is due. They don't actually look at the itemized what they're, so you're voting in more levies and bonds, you're paying higher property taxes as is, and now what they're doing is going to raise the property tax even more for the community as a whole. It's mind-blowing.
Welcome, Crystal. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. And first, before I introduce myself, all I can say is thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that. I stay on that soapbox because I agree. It is the people, it is everybody. My sister-in-law is a teacher and I'm a parent and everything that you're saying is so true. Especially in the Midwest, it's really bad. And where that money gets allotted a lot of times is to BS things, and they get rid of good programs here.
And nobody's questioning it. Nobody's questioning it.
Mm-hmm. They got rid of this math program that my sister-in-law taught in that was to help the kids that are slower with it. Okay. And said the funding is going to get building a new atrium at the school. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Trying not to curse, but you know what I mean? Thankfully, she was able to go back to teaching 4th grade instead of completely losing her job as a teacher. But it's stuff like that. You know, all kids learn different ways. I have a art therapy certification because I wanted to help kids be able to express themselves through art and understand it and everything, you know? And as a parent, my daughter was in the ESL program. Everywhere has a different way, but she was in the program because she was behind. And thankfully she had some really amazing teachers and is actually now fully up to speed with her age group and everything. But it's not always that way. And what Ollie was talking about with his chapter for Rebel is so true, because nowadays, especially here in America, they just push the kids through. It was really bad in the early 2000s. No kid left behind. No, you're not doing these kids any favors by just pushing them through. You're not doing anybody any favor. Taking the time to actually figure out the learning disability, what's going on, is what's important. You know, why are they having a hard time learning to read? I was blessed. I was a private school brat. My papa served in World War II and Korea, so we had the benefits to be able to do it. As a retired vet, his pension went into my schooling, and my mom worked her butt off as well. But I had a really hard time learning how to read. But my teacher set up a special group for us that had a hard time and got us up to speed. And after that, I became a speed reader and couldn't stop me once I learned. But they took the time to actually figure out, okay, what's wrong? Where is this? And I think that's what's missing a lot in the public school system, is because there's so many kids, they don't have the time or the energy to put into into our
I
kids.
don't really, and it's not to interrupt you, but I really don't think it's fair to really just say it's one specific thing. I think that, I mean, and this is just my own personal experience with everything that I'm dealing with. And just for the record, I am in 2 different legal battles that are currently active. So I can't, I can say things, but I have to be careful what I say. And I can't go into detail because it is an active litigation against not only the local school district, but as well as the mental health organization that they contracted with. And I think, yes, it's the time they spend, but that's just one thing. You can't go in and resolve and find a way to give these teachers more time with students when other issues, that's the Band-Aid on the surface. The time and the money are the last issue. It is not the time and the money. It's the education. It's the willingness to do the work that's needed for our children. Like, Miss Jackie, tell me where you're from so I want to make a point.
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and we
Like, you've been
have,
there the whole time?
well, I don't know what whole time means, but I've been here since.
I mean, like, different. Have you? How they were saying, like, they've been in different districts and that type of thing.
So I mean, my daughter has been in basically the main one school district, but I do see. I mean, obviously the politics and everything around. It's very interesting to hear and see a lot of our state is very, very diverse in education, as in, by the way, we have a lot of Native American schooling. They're totally segregated. That's a whole other thing. And I hear that their situation is very not good. So I can't even imagine. I mean, but I'm not even seeing it. So, but I do know that it's very different. But even the high school that's just so, in the high school district, there are several high schools that my daughter could have attended. But the other high school in just this one city or area that I live is so dramatically different in scores and how well it's been performing. Luckily, my ex and I have been able to agree on certain things, and that was one. But their scores were so much lower and so much in worse shape that we put her in this other school. It's still public, by the way, and luckily we have a choice. Not a lot of kids have choices, but I mean, even just in the city of Phoenix, Metro Phoenix, it is all different. Like every school district within the metropolitan area is different. I don't even know what's going on in Tucson, Flagstaff, all the other parts of our big state, as far as how well it runs, how well it works. But by the way, I have one of my best friends pulled her kids from the school system because her kids were not doing well at all and having a lot of troubles and things going on and I mean, luckily she was able to do this. I would love to pull my kid and like do homeschooling even myself or online schooling, but she had tried it. She tried it, and her kids are doing so much better because they're doing the online schooling. They're getting more individual attention, and because of the way they are, just the way they are in life. One of her kids has very strong ADHD and things like that make it more challenging to even just pay attention long enough. Anyway, lots of things. Yes,
I fully get it. You're preaching to the choir. I get it.
And I've offered him, like, let me sit with him. I'd be happy to just see what's going on. But I think that he's got a online school provided tutor to help him in the meantime. But I absolutely support alternative schooling because I see it helping some kids more than others. It's really interesting to see how it is.
So I guess this is why I was asking, because we live in Ohio. We're in Northeast Ohio. Coincidentally enough, I live in the city that back in I believe it's like the 1800s, Akron, Ohio is the one that laid out the public education plan that is still currently being used nationwide. Why we're using an education plan that was built back when the Rust Belt was in full going, I have no idea. Because, I mean, look how much we have evolved. So for one, just that whole framework needs to be done. I don't like how if you take our school framework and our prison framework, they practically mirror each other. I don't like it, period. I was born in Florida. We moved to Ohio when I began school. And my experience in the early 90s and late 80s into early 90s into public school systems, I didn't know that wasn't how it was for everybody. So for me, the way that I was raised, that was just normal. It wasn't until my mid to late 30s that I realized all the things that were not okay and that were actually trauma creators and not acceptable, So that was me, just same city the whole time. My daughter, we began in a school that I will say basically all elementary up to 5th grade. I must have been naive. We was in a brand new school district. They had 1, 2, 3, middle or elementary, middle, high school. They're all close together. It's a community. Like if you don't live in the city, you aren't going to their school. And I suppose I'm just naive to believe that I thought the way this school ran, all schools in America ran this way. So, and it was amazing. I cannot tell you guys how amazing. Fully inclusive, fully rebuilt schools that ensured inclusion. The teams and the way that my daughter's IEP was set up and her whole team it was just brilliant. And in my mind, this was normal. This is how education was. It was beautiful. And then there was the fire. Well, no, actually before the fire, we went to Florida. I only made it in Florida with my child for 6 months. I will tell you, the education, that was like a bipolar opposite. To go from Northeast Ohio to Southern Florida and be exposed to because my daughter has a medical team too. She has special needs. So I have to ensure wherever we go, I have a medical team and I have an education team. I couldn't even last in Florida with my child in the school system more than 2 months. It was surreal. They don't acknowledge IEPs. There's no inclusion.
Were you in Broward County?
Surreal. What was it?
Were you in Broward County?
No, I was down in Port St. Lucie, and it was surreal. It was so surreal.
Broward County would have at least acknowledged it, but they wouldn't have done much with it.
Oh yeah, it's the farther south you get, the worse.
Mm-hmm. So here, hang on. I have to let me inject in here. So I get what you're saying. I have been through the school system too. I had one with an IEP, and I had one that was going through general. Right.
Oh, I'm getting to the best part.
Oh, wait, hang on. One thing I want to say is this, because at the end of this, you're probably going to want to say something about it. Parents can make a different choice. Parents can make a different choice. We do not have to follow the plan that has been laid out for us. So when you say you don't like these certain things, we have the ability to make a different choice, but we choose not to. And that's the one thing that bothers me a lot of times with a lot of different people. Not saying this is about you.
I moved back to Ohio. I brought it back to Ohio. Like, oh no, I have her education and medical has to be first.
Here's the thing: you don't have to put her in school. Put her in just like you did, but it took so long to get here. And I think sometimes I just want to say, I just want parents to know that they have permission. You have permission to do what's best for your child. And that does not always mean that it's got to be with a school system.
Yeah, so we came back to Ohio, and then there was the fire. So we had to enroll for 6th grade this past year into the school district that was by where we were living post-fire. This was when Florida's different. That's a whole new state. I can understand the difference in states. But to go into a school district 7 miles from where we just spent all of elementary, and we're entering middle school. So like my daughter had an IEP through elementary. We graduated to a 504. We set up an IEP for the 6th grade, not knowing we was going to a new school district because we knew we would need to transition back to it. Like her team was beautiful. So we start this new school system. We're ecstatic because the mental health company that the original school contracted with is being contracted with here. We thought we was about to have this smooth transition. School started mid-August. By the end of August, I was already requesting appointments and meetings with the full team because I see my daughter's mental health slipping. By end of September, I had this said meeting. By October, my daughter was suicidal. By November, I was losing my mind. By December, I withdrew her from in-person school. By April, I found out that the mental health provider that was contracted with the school lied to the Medicaid system and received 22 payments for services never received to my daughter. Well, my daughter's suicidal and her new counseling is being denied because they're paying a counseling service. Yeah. So I am aggressively advocating. Now, I can tell you that this year, because parents don't know that if you get an IEP, you can't be refused. If you request an IEP, they don't have to give it to you, but they can't refuse the appointment. They can't refuse the request for the assessment. I have it in writing multiple times. They refused it. I have it in writing that I have so much receipts. But my point is, like, I learned through this process if a school, at least this is in Ohio, and I don't know if it's just certain counties, but if a school is unable to provide your child the education that they need, and they need to be transferred to a behavioral school where they will get mental health support more than the academic, right?
Yep.
The school basically has to admit that they can't do it, and they have to pay a huge fee for this to happen. But they don't tell parents this. And it wasn't until the moment I found this out that was when I went into overprotective psycho mama. I went, you are refusing to acknowledge my daughter's suicidal mental health and failing academic needs because you guys don't want to pay a fee? Or like, and I lost it. So now we have lawyers, and now there's litigation. But because they refused the IEP, they have what is called a JP scholarship. You cannot apply for the JP scholarship to help you pay the $45,000 to $75,000 tuition required for these special schools without the IEP. So this year school started. I've had truancy officers at my door, like, why ain't your kid in school? I was like, well, ain't no school around here open enrollment. My daughter's mental health and her special needs, she needs in-person schooling with peer-to-peer socialization. I can't do this. She can't be around only adults. This is not healthy. But I have nowhere to put her. Parents need to know, like you just said, take me to truancy court. Here's your receipt. I'm advocating. We are in legal litigation. You guys failed my child, not me. I picked up the pieces when my 11-year-old daughter told me she wanted to die. Okay. And I did it alone. And that was your fault because I told you at 2 weeks into school that she needed her consistent therapy appointments. That was already happening all elementary. You guys had all the records. And that is my situation. Like, I don't know if that helped. It's rough. And it's the things that I educated myself along the way. And I learned, like, I was assigned a school advocate to be told, like, you've done more than we can do. You know more than I know. And girl, like, you need to come work for us when you're done with your legal case.
Good job. Because a lot of parents don't do that. And they are now happy enough to be able to do that. So I'm very proud to know you now. I know that because there's not a lot of parents to do that. And I had to do it too. I was fighting the school district about a bad placement. It's okay to make mistakes. It's what you do when you define the mistake. What you do with it is what determines what type of integrity you work with. And a lot of parents, we get to the place where we feel like we have been told for so long that certain systems, we don't have the right to suggest, encourage, and demand certain things, right? And that's what the problem is. And I'm here to tell you, you do have that right. You have the right to say, this is not working for my child. And because you cannot meet the standards in which I expect you to meet with the academics for my child, I'm worried about their future, right? The right now doesn't matter. I got that covered. But her future, if she can't make money, if he can't make money outside of this, it's her future that I'm concerned about. And if you can't help me prepare them for their future, you can't be the partner in my life.
So listen, COVID came. I learned in that moment, I am not an academic teacher. You want me to teach my daughter how to keep a house clean, budget a checkbook? I got you. My daughter, I was never taught Common Core math. Do you know my daughter is so with her beautiful neurodivergent mind? Mom, that math problem is wrong, not because we have the same answer, but because you didn't use Common Core. how am I supposed to argue with this? I don't know Common Core math, but I learned then. I'm not an academic teacher. I feel our teachers are underpaid. I feel they're overworked. I feel they don't get enough validation and credit for what their role is in our child's life. You mean to tell me I put my child on a bus at 6 a.m. and she comes home at 3:30 p.m. and you think this is what our teachers and our education is worth?
Well, sorry for interrupting. Sorry for interrupting. I noticed that Tabatha and Kristin have to leave in a few minutes, I think. So I would I will open the stage to anyone on the audience, including CJ. Welcome, CJ. I will just spotlight Tabatha's and Kristin's mission by letting them speak, and I'm going to make my juice in the backside. Thank you. So Tabatha first, and then Kristin.
Thank you. So all I'm going to say is that child safety is where I started, right? But I've always known that this is something I needed to do. We need to take more responsibility and control over what's happening for our children. We can't sit idly by and expect other people to do what we expect and what we would want to do, right? We have to take an active role. Just take a look at things around you, right? When you think in terms of your child and what you want for their future, if it's better than what you're sitting in, you got to make sure that they're prepared. And that's their safety, that's their community and things like that. I will end like this. All of us have the same thing. We have parent number 1 at home. Parent number 2 is the school. Parent number 3, which is a bonus parent, is your community. All equals a healthy child. There's never been a child that has not had that type of love in all of those areas, not make it to the end and be happy and satisfied and thrive. So if we can just do that and remember our words are power, if we use them wisely, we can upbuild and not destroy. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Love it. Love it. I would just piggyback on it. It takes a village, which is the first thing that came to my mind. I want to help bridge that gap between home and school that has created that us versus them environment and get rid of that. Remember who it's all about. It's about the kids and doing what we can do to help support the kids as much as we possibly can. So the more that we can do that, the more our children are going to benefit from that. Thank you so much, Ollie, for having me on today. I do appreciate it.
With joy. So now we are opening the stage for anyone in the audience. I am really blessed to have this session going on. It will end in 30 minutes maximum. I'm mindful about our time at all. And Jackie, Michelle, do you want to add something?
I was gonna say I can't see comments or anything, so I didn't know if there's questions in the comments. I didn't know if Jackie had questions, but
yeah, feel free to ask questions.
As long as it's not as long as it doesn't, conflict with legal details. Like I'm pretty much an open book. Like I feel that we got to recover loudly because that's how we're gonna stop others from suffer. They can't suffer silently. They need to hear it. They need to know they're not alone.
Oh, I agree. I totally. Well, there's a question that Trina Arston posted in the comments. Do the teachers in the U.S. have security education besides the teacher education that they have today? My answer was I'm not 100% sure, but I would imagine that they have some sort of protocol. John's having troubles.
I'm learning a new system. I apologize.
Oh my goodness. But I would imagine. I mean, certainly at my daughter's school, they have protocols. They do lockdown, days where they're doing test lockdowns, or if things were to go crazy, they do stuff like that. That's more emergency stuff. But I think that what we're talking about here today also is more along the lines of the daily, and I loved what Tabatha and Kristin talked about, which is the daily health-wise mindset. How are the teachers showing up, in class? I'm not going to say any names or anything at my daughter's school, but there was one of her teachers that there's apparently a reputation that she's very hard to learn from. And kids are like, when they found out they had her, they like transferred to another class. And first of all, actually, I'm like glad to hear that the school is letting the kids have a say in which teacher they have, even at particular school. But the way I look at it too is if we can, as parents, do our best to hold the fort. I mean, I love what Michelle's doing. Absolutely, we have to be, we have to be mama and papa bears, because it is ultimately up to us to take care of our kids and make sure they're okay. That's literally our job. So, I mean, yeah, and I love what Tabatha was saying about like they're our partners. They're supposed to be our partners. But when it's not working anymore, that I love that you're taking the reins, Michelle, and you're doing what needs to be done to help. And not only that, but your actions hopefully will help the rest of the community by the fact that you're doing legal
I'd
action.
say I received an email because technically my daughter's still enrolled in said school system. Because there's nowhere to put it right now. Like I can't afford a $60,000 tuition. We don't have, so we're in limbo right now. But I did receive an email, like, because their school just started, like, again, mid-August. And they have fully implemented a new contract, I believe, with a new licensed social worker as well as a new mental health team. So where the catalyst for the change was that the suffering and the expense of my child becoming suicidal. And this last year's journey of picking up these pieces I would never wish on a parent, I am thankful that moving forward, even though my daughter will not be able to partake and receive these amazing things that this email says is now in place, that I feel should have already been in place, I am thankful because we did find out through this process there were other students that their insurance, the same thing was happening. So there was multiple parameters of insurance fraud. But it's like bittersweet when you and parents need to, and I think like how you say we need to, I think that one of the most important things we really need, it's both. We need in-person and online support systems for this, because like it's not in the beginning. In the beginning, it's like, oh my God, that's horrible, that situation. But then when you got to talk to somebody about it again, like 18 months later, and you're like explaining how brutal the legal process is, or what my current battles, it's like they're just like, oh, but then they don't know what to say, or they feel bad, or it's pity and sympathy versus empathy and encouragement. Like we need to build the village and the support system that parents. I think more parents would speak out if the fear didn't have to be as strong for the retaliation and what you're going up against. Because it's scary. And I've walked a lot of this journey in solitude and loneliness with no support, just relying on my faith that I'm doing what's best for my child.
That's phenomenal. I mean, I can relate. I can only imagine what that's like, not having the support around you of people. I'm so glad you do have the support of this community here for you, even though we're
life-saving.
By the way, I have lots of family in your area of the state of Ohio, so I'm familiar with. I started elementary school in Ohio, in New Philadelphia,
and they're farther south. They're way different than Akron.
Yeah. So I loved Ohio. I have a lot of family there. So anyway, so thank you for doing all of this. Even though it might not feel good, I'm positive that, like you said, things are already shifting where maybe they need to shift.
It has to shift. And what is really breaking my heart is that the support that you can get, it's outside the system. It's with people that have the same struggles than you, that decided to make a support system external to this school system. That's the saddest part. That's the saddest part.
I feel like the last 18 months, 2 years of my life has been this like brutal reality check of what I believe to be the societal norm and status quo and policies, and just, I guess in your mind, you just believe that it's this way and this is what happened. But then when I'm firsthand living and experiencing the reality that is so opposite, it you can definitely get lost in your thought. I'll say that. You definitely question everything.
Yeah, and it's not only about the schools, it's about the whole society that we trust. But when we realized that I was reading a book, not reading a book, but aware about a book that I could read one day, is about someone who worked in the industrial food industry. And he left and he wrote a book, If Only They Knew, or something like that, a title like that. And it's because what they use in the backside to replace quality food by introducing synthesis or whatever, and they are even not obliged to do it on the labels. And of course,
Yep.
I'm using an off topic, but the thing is the same. They hide things. They hide things to the people, they hide things to the parents, hoping that the trust will be there. But then information is getting out sooner or later, like in the tobacco industry in the 60s, or anything that is related to bad practice in the 60s and the 70s, it came out. And so I think the trust is less and less and less. So to replace this lack of trust of this system, we have to build a new system on our own through people of goodwill. And that will hopefully make a shift and be integrated as a whole in the system. But before that, we have to be the rebel to fight against the system that is in place, to say, okay, look, what you have done, what are you going to do? If you are doing nothing, then it's up to us to do the things to make it better, because it's not it's for humanity. It's to level up humanity. So I'm eager to read your story, Michelle, because I'm sure you were talking about that into the book Rebel with a Cause. And my theme was education also, because not only about my business, neuro language coach, but also because I would like to see the children in a better state than it's right now, and to not only agree to what the system is putting on us. We have to question the system if we want to level up this world.
I think my theme of my chapter is it's not like just schools or just the judicial system or just family dynamics. Like, I mean, my theme will give the reader a pretty good dipping their toe in the water of, I've had to be a rebel my entire life for every aspect of life. So it's true though. It's like until, and it's not just education. Like, this is socioeconomical. It's until there's transparency and accountability and accessibility and basically a revolution. Like, it has to change. The longer that we just sit back and allow it to be how it is, like I had a pretty heated conversation a few months back where somebody's just like trying to wrap their mind around the legal aspects of my situation and just how they just don't believe it. And it's just like, well, how would the government know to investigate a company if nobody reported it? If they didn't suspect something was going on, how would they know to do an investigation? So how would the Ohio Attorney General know that this mental health place was committing Medicaid fraud if nobody told them? Well, guess what? Call me whatever you want. I'll be the snitch. Like, this is my child's life. I'll do what I have to do. This is not okay.
Excellent. I'm glad you did.
Y'all silent.
I love you that you're sharing, though, also your experience with the world, because we all need to hear what's happening, and any encouragement that you have for other parents to do the same. I hope they hear, because also we all just need to do, sometimes, asking the questions, and sometimes it takes a little bit of figuring out maybe what's going on with our kids. If we don't quite understand, I love that, at some point the parents can have to get really involved. They could just be listening, and then, do we need to talk to the principal, blah, blah, blah. Well, what if that's not enough? And like what you did, just continuing to dig and to ask the questions really goes for anything. But, I'll never forget dropping my kid off, at kindergarten, or even preschool, but I was not comfortable because I didn't trust the system already. I was already but I was angry because of my situation, that I couldn't just homeschool her myself at the time. I still can't right now, but at the same time, I can assist more because I'm more flexible with what I'm doing. But yeah, I'll never forget that feeling. So I had to literally place my trust in the school system, and
They proved to be untrustworthy.
Time and time again. And to support that, what I had to make sure for my own sanity was, I said to her, even back then, I said, I need you to tell me, I need you to talk to me if anything feels weird or different, or if you're uncomfortable. I said, I know that, she was little, obviously preschool, but for a long, I kept saying it. So she heard this,
That's one thing that if parents are listening right now, they should truly hear. Don't make your 2-year-old child go forcibly hug somebody because you're leaving and that's a family member. Don't have your toddler child come to you and pull on your pant leg and want to tell you or show you something, and you say, in a minute. Stop what you're doing and turn around and do it. Because then when they get to where I'm at now, I know my child, she's going to come to me. She tells me anything.
Excellent.
She will come. I don't ever want her to be like, oh shit, I'm in trouble and I can't go to my mom. I should be the first person she comes to.
Yeah.
And that is something that you have to build the trust and the safety net with your child from birth, basically. You can't be inconsistent. You can't do your actions and your word. They have to not only hear the love, they have to feel it. And they have to trust it is going to be there unconditional. And that's one thing parents got to hear. Because by the time you get to these positions, yours is in high school, mine's in middle school, it's too late. They're going to go confide in their friends because they already feel like they can't have a conversation with you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and not only that, but then to support that is to hear them and listen. And then also, this actually I found interesting because at some point she would say to me things that I was like, I don't know, honey, it's like, no, shut up, mom, listen. And then to act on that, where she didn't want to go to that party or she didn't want to go do that thing. And even though I wanted to go, so, the child in me was like, well, that's ridiculous. Why does she not?
It's the validation. They need validated,
exactly.
Even if you don't agree.
And so, I had to zip it and say, she doesn't want to go to that party. Guess what? Your daughter's different than you are. And she's following her intuition. And I feel very blessed and grateful because I know this isn't always possible. But so, for example, like this past week, she's like, Mom, my body's telling me that I don't feel good enough to do X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, thank you. Like, oh my God, for her to have that language even I try, anytime I do tutoring, I talk to kids the same kind of way. I try to encourage them to talk. And it's like I love what Tabatha and Kristin were saying too. It's not always easy for them to just hear that and go, oh yeah, okay, I'll just go talk to my parents, or oh, I'll just go talk to the teacher. So I'm totally aware that's not always possible. However, this child, this human being, does need an advocate. They need to be heard. Whoever it is, whoever. It does. I mean, okay, the parents are not able to do that. Then what if someone like me or whoever's coming along, wait, your kid is saying this. We need to hear this. And it's very moving to me. I feel like, sad, because I know a lot of that's not happening. And even when the kids feel heard, like and there's cutting, there's kids are self-cutting, there's this stuff going on in schools, and I don't know exactly their situation, but I do know that stuff like this happening even in households where they feel heard. So when it's happening, we're not perfect parents ever, I know this, but to be just there to like capture them when this stuff is going down, they'll have questions about it. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's like we do the best we freaking can, we do absolutely the best we can. And when we show up and do listen and not make them do events or go to people when they are truly hearing their gut, we have to support them in that.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you that you're wrong, and your only thing you're wrong about is saying that we're not the perfect parent, because like parents that are like you and I, that is the perfect parent. Being able to look at your child and say, I was wrong.
Oh,
don't, by being able to be the parent to look at your child, like, I tell her, like, your feelings are valid. Might not agree with them, but you're going to have to make your mistakes. So if you shall fail or fall, I don't agree, but I'll be there to pick you up. Those are the perfect parents. Like,
yeah,
it's we are perfect parents because we do what we never got growing up and what we wanted.
Yeah. Can I share something for a few minutes?
Sure,
I
this
would
is your
say,
show.
yeah, of course. But for many years, I placed my dad on a pedestal because he was my only parent. And I will always remember more than 35 years ago, my mom was already ill, brain cancer. And at some point, my dad, I was able to get out of school earlier. And my dad was waiting for me on a bench. And he told me, it's over. Your mom is no more. And I was seeing him crying for the first time of my life, because for 2 or 3 years or even more, he was not expressing his emotion. He was doing his best to see his wife declining and then dead. And the last thing I would like to say is that parents are a guide, but at the same time, I'm really happy to quote a poem that you probably may know. But let me quote just a few lines. It's from Khalil Gibran. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. So I found this text very powerful because we as parents are fun, and I'm not a parent, so I'm not talking about me, but parents desires to have their child in their own image, but I truly believe they have their own choice. But at the same time, we need to assure them the soil. It's like seeing a tree dropping some fruits and hoping that there will be trees that will grow. But if the soil is not good, then the future generation will not be able to flourish as we did. And it's all about going upwards and elevating, and not going to the middle age backwards, because since decades and centuries the society has evolved, but at the same time it has evolved more in this and not so much in this. And it's really my hope to see in school more and more heart and less brain. Of course we have to think, but we have also to talk about our heart. So I was thinking also, we have still 5 to 10 minutes maximum. What are your final thoughts? And I don't see, I was posting a comment for people to join the stage. You are free to join the stage at any point, but in 5 to 10 minutes it will be over. So this is your chance. So aside that, Michelle, Jackie, thank you so much. And also Kristin, Tabatha, Crystal, to join. And what are your last words?
I would think my last words is going to be that I definitely became pregnant and had a child believing that I had to like become a teacher, teach this child. And what I've learned for the last dozen years is that I'm the student and she's the teacher. And every day she's giving me a new lesson. And you just got to take it and do it. Like you just got to be a part of it, and you got to be open and willing to take that as an experience, to let your child teach you a lesson, because some people can't. Is that
Oops,
Angelica?
Angelica. Yeah, Angelica, welcome.
I can't see her on my phone. I had to look at the
Hi, Angelica.
another rebel.
Woo! Welcome, Angelica. Can you hear us and can you speak?
Yes, I can hear you guys. I'm like, this is a hot Saturday. And I said, I got to come in before you guys close because I got to support my peeps. We're all the same crew, you know? So it's good to see you guys. Awesome. I don't see you, Ollie. Oh, there you are. I just have to scroll. Hello. I see Jackie's here. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Well, I
Nice.
totally agree. That was a beautiful reading that you gave us, Ollie, about that beautiful topic. And actually, if you had a link to that somewhere, I would love to see that again. Would love to read it again. But yeah, I love that you mentioned being pregnant, Michelle, because I remember being pregnant and so excited to teach her everything I know. And, you know, couldn't wait to teach her cooking, couldn't wait to teach her gardening, all the things. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Ollie. Oops. And it's hilarious because she does not like to cook. She does not want to cook. And gardening is not even a possibility, certainly in my apartment area. Like, it's just not doable. And my metaphysical things, all of the things, she's just not really, she does her own thing. And I've had to let it go because I had all these things that I was like, oh, I can't wait. My mom taught me all these things. I can't wait to pass it down. Well, she's only 15, so I know there's time, and perhaps she's adopted some of the things, but she's not like, oh yes, I'm gonna learn that and the other stuff. Anyway, I'd love to hear from Angelica too.
I want to add though, real quick, is that I had every example of what I didn't want or who I didn't want to be. So to get a child that I have to keep alive and that their survival is 100% dependent on myself, because I don't have a family support system. I don't have her father's family support. I don't have a friend support system. Like, I think that you know, like I said, that's why I talk and tell my story, to make the awareness, because there's so many people in the world that just can't even fathom not having a support system. And you know, my life, I have to be responsible for every aspect of life that somebody generally has someone 24/7, 365. I don't get a break. I don't, you know, there's nobody coming in to help take care of my kid, you know? And it's just, it's this process, like I've had to learn what life means for me, because I know what I don't want it to mean, if that makes sense.
I'm a single mom too, by the way. I totally relate.
It ain't even got it, and that's one thing too. I try, if I said single mom, I try to say a single parent, because there's single dads that struggle. Single dads struggle harder than single moms.
Mm.
It's statistically proven.
Wow. Sure, makes sense.
Yep. That's why we need to, like, it's the parent. It's the human. Stop. It don't matter if you're male or female or what. None of that. It's the parent that needs support. Period. End of day.
Sure, absolutely.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
I want to add something because I have a friend who was a single dad, and he told me it was pretty rough for him as well. But working at Head Start as when I was a parent engagement aide, one of the things that we try to do is make the dads feel comfortable as they come into the site, because so many times it's the woman, the mom, that brings the child into the center. So all they see is, you know, the support that moms are getting. But we try to put up pictures of children with their dads and include them in a lot of in a lot of activities. We have a male engagement committee so that males can be involved in the education of the children, and it really adds a lot to the children's to the room when they see a dad come into the room, because a lot of those children don't have a dad that's there. So when they see a dad there, they all gravitate to the dad, and he's like the superhero, right? So it's important, I think, that that we look at both parents. So I love that
It would be a great
that.
conversation. I don't know if you guys know Emilio. He founded Eagle of Hope, and that specific, like, section of this conversation, he would be amazing. Like, he will tell you, as a, like, not only being a father and what it is with parenting, like to be incarcerated and then to have to come home and rebuild those, like, he would be a prime, like, you want some good knowledge nuggets, you can get them there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was it's amazing because I had this on hand for a few previous sessions. So here is Emilio contact.
That's what's up. Look at that. So yes, exactly. He's. I mean, and he advocates hardly. Like, he hard for it. Like, because it's. I think like, because you just. Oh my gosh, I wish I had the exact statistic on me right now, like, for what a single parent household is. But then when you take the single parent percentage and then you get the analytics for it being mothers versus fathers, and then the resources that are available in the community. So it's very disheartening that it isn't an equal. Any single parent needs resources and a village and support. It doesn't matter if it's the mom or the dad.
I agree.
But I know Ollie wants to get off here, so those were my closings. I'm gonna listen to everybody else. I'm thankful, Ollie, and I'm thankful that I got to be published co-authors with everybody. You guys are
awesome. You're muted, Angelica.
I love the heart.
Oh, there you are.
I need a heart. I need to get one, because this is just
that's awesome.
And also an angel. We are all angels in disguise.
Beautiful.
Look, I got a heart, you guys.
This is mine. This is mine.
Off the wall.
Oh my
Aw.
goodness.
So we
I
lost
have
everything.
one too.
We lost everything in a fire, and one of her aunts had this from what it was given to her when she started school. So she gave it back after I lost everything, all my mementos in the fire because it's Angelina, and she did it in school.
So sweet.
So her aunt
Oh.
gave it back to me so I could, because I had no mementos or saved memories. So I do have a heart. I need to get a littler one.
Oh.
Let me stop.
No.
Go ahead. Closing thoughts.
It's good that you have a big heart, girl. You got a big heart physically inside of you too. So I think all of us here do.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why we're here. I'm glad you guys let me come in last minute. I was like, I was rushing. I was rushing to come in. I said, I got to put a little bit of makeup on at least.
Listen, you form any. Well, I'll come to your interview. We can do it all day.
Well, be your own self. I would say, hop, to remove
This
my
is my
hat
own self.
because hat on your own self, Angelica.
I will be my own self, and I have many faces and many hairdos and many wigs as well. But anyway,
I was about to say, let's get to the wigs because I've seen some fire ones. Whew.
Fun.
So this is
Jackie?
my first time I've been in a live with Jackie. So thank you, Jackie, for
Oh yeah.
letting me be here with you too. And I think first time that I'm in here with Michelle. No, we did it with
We've been in lives.
But it's nice to we
A
gotta
little
do
more
more of
crowded
these.
lives. This is less people.
I think it's nice to have have it like this. Everybody gets a chance to talk and we have a conversation, right? So
That's why Keith and I do our platform. Like it's the conversation and it's the depths that it goes and it's what gets made aware of. Like that's why we love, how we're building that platform. It's not about like who's not to I'm not nobody please Jesus Christ. Oh my God, don't take my words like wrong. Like I'm not discrediting people's, input.
their room.
It's, sometimes it's better to just not have 75 inputs.
Ooh,
Yeah.
another one will join. Ooh, amazing. I'm happy to welcome Kim.
Kim, how you doing? So pretty. Everybody is so pretty. Good to see you.
Hi,
Look at all
sister.
Yes.
the authors. Yes. You guys
Hi.
are beautiful.
We
Yeah.
made it in on time, Kim.
Perfect. Yes.
We are
on time.
best-selling international authors.
You're on mute, Kim. I think you're on
Okay.
mute, Kim.
Uh,
Hear you now. We hear you now.
okay. Yeah. We are on. You and I, Angelica. We are on our own time. On time.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
because we're on PST time.
Yes.
Me too.
So how's everybody
And you
doing?
too, right? Everybody's yeah, good. Everybody's got a big heart here, including
Oh,
you.
Well, it's time to shine now. It's the after party.
yes.
You got some
I was
liquor
just
in there?
saying
No.
that, I was just saying when you came in, like we are all, as of last night, international best-selling authors. Yay!
Thank
I'm
you,
so
CJ
happy.
and Susanna.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
That is
It's surreal.
Congratulations,
It feels
all you
so surreal to say that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's such a phenomenal celebrations because I know as a solopreneur we can work on our own and just join this community and many other community. It's just like for me, I was thinking the analogy of like when you lit up the bonfire, that's one log. It's hardly any light come out from it. So if we join our heart, our soul together and create this movement and we add more log to it, more light to it, we can lit up this world out of chaos. You see? Because within the power of one, we are one. Whatever we think, whatever we do is affects the ripple effects of the collective consciousness of humanity. So therefore, I saw I saw your post, but I have to eat lunch, and I just finished lunch. I have my heart somewhere. I have plenty of heart.
Yeah, because you are a heart healer, you have a heart, of course.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, I have them somewhere. This is my gigantic rose quartz.
Awesome.
Whoa.
See, it's
Wow.
bigger than my hand.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
I
really
had a
big.
rose quartz that looked like a heart. I lost it in the fire, but because somebody knew how important it was after the fire, they sent me another rose quartz that
Yeah.
it wasn't as big.
Not the
And it doesn't look
fire.
like a heart, but I think the significance they said was that it looked like a flame. And they
It
kept
is
telling
a
me I was going to
flame.
be the phoenix that would rise after that fire. And that's why they picked the flame looking.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
It
That's
is.
beautiful.
And I keep
Yeah.
it like on my desk. So
Everybody, let's give Michelle a heart. If you do this,
Oh yes,
I
yes,
do
yes,
this.
yes. Thank you. Let me go get my amethyst heart. I'll be right back. You guys can talk. Yeah.
Well,
I'm
this is
gonna
our
go
only
get all my
conversation, Holly.
crystals. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know why,
So,
but
and
when I go like this, hearts come up.
I know I don't
automatically.
get
yeah,
hard.
it's on Mac, I think. It's especially
Oh,
on
Mac.
Mac. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought everybody had that. I was okay.
No, no,
But
it's
not
Shut
trying
my
to like hook up a new
let
mic
me
last night. It was not working.
let me shut my mouth then.
yeah. Yeah, so and Angelica, tell us more about you. What is your mission? I'm happy to spotlight you also.
Oh, you mean the mission from the story? Um, well, I think what I think I'm gonna do is just write the first paragraph and put it in the post. I think if we put the first paragraph, it
Yeah,
gives
but
people.
I did
it's
it at
about
cert release.
Oh, you
I
did
think
that.
I did this. I think I took the second paragraph with 2 lines from the third, and
Hmm.
that was all I included in the excerpt.
I think
it's
I'm gonna put that in a post. Go ahead, Ali.
yeah.
Sorry.
It was more to hear from you about your mission, your are you doing right now to elevate humanity and to
Beautiful.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What I'm doing
Wow.
to that is gorgeous.
Hmm.
What I'm doing to elevate humanity is, well, I work with a lot of low income families, and one of the things that I feel is important is, oh, that's gorgeous. I love it.
Sorry for the distraction because I cannot
I'll
wait
get
to
back to
share
that
the
question.
energy of it.
I'll get
It's
back
See,
to that
okay.
question after we
see,
see
it's
all the
bigger than
hearts.
my
Yeah.
head. Look,
Yeah.
see,
Wow.
my head only half of the size of it.
I
That's
want a dress
gorgeous.
that's that color and sparkly.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds like
really
two
deep,
hearts.
deep. Yeah,
That,
this is, I don't know. It just, whenever it have a shell, these faucets continue to grow.
wow.
Really?
They continue to grow as long as there's skin intact to it.
Well, I didn't
Because
know
Ooh.
that.
Wow.
these little faucet, it was tiny when I got them. Now it grow bigger.
Wow,
It
Wow. It's
does
like
grow.
two
that's
hearts together.
amazing.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't know.
never knew that they grew. That's
they do
interesting.
It's a
grow. You
living
look.
being.
I see
It's the
Yeah,
now.
crystallization process.
Mm.
It's a bunch
Oh,
of science.
I got some.
Wow.
I got the STEM people in here now.
all right. Okay. I'll stop sharing my crystal because I have a whole bunch more. You're talking about the crystal, forget it. They want to be known. They want to be seen.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Very nice.
Exactly.
Well, let's hear
Yes, yes, yes,
what
yes,
everybody's
yes.
mission is. Let's hear what everybody else's mission is too.
You begin first, Angelica.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll finish up. Well, my mission, since I'm already working with families that are low income, there's a lot of children because they come from low income families. They struggle with self esteem. They struggle with, they might be the child that gets bullied at school. So mine is, and also, human trafficking. So that's a big thing over here because we're so close to Mexico. And actually, do you guys know where the most human trafficking is at in the
I
United
know
States?
that here in Northeast Ohio, we're in the top single digits.
Yeah.
We actually, when you go to cosmetology and barber school here in Ohio, like barbers are 1,800 hours, cosmetologists are 1,500 hours. Within those hundreds of hours, there are state required dozens and dozens of hours that have to be taught of sex trafficking, what to look for. If somebody was to bring in somebody they've kidnapped and were trying to change their identity, like it's actually a lot of people like, and again, that was me being naive, thinking this was taught nationwide, and apparently it's not.
Yeah, and it should be. It should be taught, I think, early on. Parents in Head Start need to know
Oh
about
yeah.
that so that their children are safe, right? But I was looking, and I don't know if this is true because Google, but it said Houston, Texas is number one. And I was
Really?
Wow.
I was surprised with that, because I think Houston is a small city. So I was thinking about all of our LinkedIn friends that we have in Houston, and
Some of the
well,
characteristics that contribute to that are the accessibility. So, like, for example, here in Northeast Ohio, like, especially this Tri-County area, there's the Great Lakes and the waterways. There's the railroads. There's the
yeah,
international airports. Literally, there is a highway. You can be anywhere within, like, I think it's like 50% of the population of the entire U.S. is from Columbus, Ohio.
mm-hmm.
So it's like all that contributes. And I'm pretty sure that Houston has a massive international airport and different, those means.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Can,
and
yeah,
in the anti-trafficking, I would like also to spotlight Kristin because
Mm-hmm.
she is doing
yes,
a lot of amazing things to tackle human trafficking.
She was one of the first ones that I had a conversation with about it that I learned not everybody was taught in like cosmetology school, barber school. I sent her, our state, policy for her state to look at because she was the first one to tell me that wasn't like I thought it was like worldwide, but it's like, that's really naive.
should be.
But then to not even be nationwide, I was just mind blown.
Yeah, yeah. We had an interview, and I love the interview that we had. We're gonna have a part two, Kristen and I, because I think it's so important for people to know what to do, what to out for, right? Because sometimes we could notice something and just ignore it and just go along our merry way, and who knows if that's somebody who needs our help.
I mean, that
So,
goes with what Keith said about that homelessness stuff the other day. We like raise our kids, or people be like, "Well, that's us. That's them. That's not us." Or look the other way. It's not looking the other way. It's not ignoring the situation. It's not
hmm
getting that gut intuitive feeling, but going against it. And
hmm
I
yeah.
raised my daughter that way. Like I don't want her to deflect. I want her to reflect what it should be.
Absolutely. I think that that's what I love about this group. Everyone here really cares about people. And
yeah, I'm
that's why I
just
say you got a big heart, Michelle. Go ahead, Kim.
thank you. I'm just
You next.
I'm curious. I'm curious. Is this Houston where Joel Osteen have his church? Where does Joel Osteen have his church?
Oh, I don't know.
Because he is a huge influencer. If he speak into it, it will make a difference. His church can serve. He served millions of people. He's right there, and I mean, whether Houston or I don't know where it is, but there's a church. I mean, church supposed to save people, right?
You're not in the U.S., are you? No offense. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but
I am in San Francisco, my dear,
I
but
say
I'm
at
not
least
involved
here
in
where
politics.
I live, not all churches help. Not
Okay.
not all. Some are amazing and authentic and genuine. Some of them you get looked at differently if you walk in and you ain't got money to put in the tithe basket. Like they're not all the same here. Like you
Well,
don't.
thank you.
I've been in churches where I felt uncomfortable to never return, or the judgment, or yeah. So at least where I live, there are great churches. Like, there's good ones, and they support community, and they live by amazing values, and they have integrity. But I don't even think it's really just the churches. Like, this is organizations and community. Like, it's anywhere. There's just some, like, there's good with evil. There's going to be a flip side of a coin.
That's why
Well,
we got to
thank you.
spread it.
Well,
That's why
thank
we're
you
here
for
to spread it.
educating me. I'm here in San Francisco, Ocean Beach. That where I live. I'm right here by the beach. The place that I track to, they are wonderful places. Like Reverend Cecil William. What is the place called? I forgot the name of it. But anyway, we have a couple church here. It's non-denominations in terms of the service that they serve. They belong to some kind of Christian, but our pastor actually sees the divine feminine, more like spiritual aspect of our humanness. So I go to that one. It's beautiful. People all kind of gender go there. It's safe. And also I went to the Golden Gate Spiritualist Church, and it's beautiful church. So far I'm exposed to good one. And thank you for telling me that, because I assume with with our goodness within our heart, we tend to expect everybody, behave like we do, and what I learned is, even though I am living in this body for 60 years, it's still that innocent part of me still there, and I assume everybody else just like me. That's why I bump into mistake here and there being taken advantage of. However, as we are here now in our community, we're gonna look after each other.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you. Yes.
And I didn't mean no disrespect. I was just saying, like, I wish I had never been exposed to a unkind religious setting.
Bye, Jackie.
Bye-bye. I'll see you next time.
Bye, Jackie.
Take care.
Bye, Jackie. Thank you for being here. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye. Yeah. So are we stream out somewhere?
Yes, on YouTube and LinkedIn, and it will be available for the replay team also.
Okay.
And
Wonderful.
I'm really blessed that you came, Kim, and also you, Angelica. And kudos for you, Michelle. It has been more than an hour and 52 minutes right now. Wow, well, it's near 2
It's on
hours.
Facebook too. I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
Oh,
Yay.
wonderful. Yeah. I don't know how to stream out, but I love to go to Instagram. Any one of you in Instagram? I know Angelica and I connect in Instagram.
Yeah.
I have like my personal Instagram account is locked, and they won't unlock it for some reason. And then my organization is there too. But I don't. It's really just posting content. I'm not really like being active on social media is more so pushing content, creating awareness. Like pretty much everybody I interact with is like WhatsApp or texting, phone calls, Zoom meetings, like the nitty gritty behind the scenes stuff that most people don't even think exists.
So last but not least, I will end this by asking the whole of you to envision a better world. So I will start with imagine that you see the world of your dreams coming in reality. What the world of your dreams becoming real would be. So I start with Michelle, and then Angelica, and then Kim.
It's just really a global inclusion and just peace and kindness, and switching from systems that look at humans in pairs and categories and just doing individual centric frameworks that support a human for who they are, not what they look like or how old they are or their gender or their marital status or their socioeconomic, like it's just inclusion. Like every human should just be treated as a human, and I mean that's it.
May this come true.
I'm working on it, bud. I'm working on it every day.
We are.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a whole team of us out here. Constant collaboration, constant talks, and just drafting the making a real life business model, I guess you could say.
And look at that, Kim. Amazing. That's beautiful. You are a true artist.
Yeah, this is one. Let me show this. So because it needs to be out and about globally. This is my
Yes.
vision for humanity. This is 30 by 40 inches.
Wow.
This is the goddess. There's a bird that carry the message of peace and harmony, and that made the master heart healer there in Indian form. You see that gigantic heart? Our job is to heal the heart of humanity in the Big Bang. There is the Stonehenge. Each of the Stonehenge represent our spirit guides and their humanity, because we call humanity need to come together to make new choices to heal the earth. So this is my vision for humanity. Can you see?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, it's
So,
beautiful.
So this is my, I pray to make this into a movie, because we need to make a movie. Angelica, we need your help to make this into physical reality, because love heals.
Mm.
So,
And Angelica just left, I think, because I don't see any more Angelica. But
okay.
she will watch it on replay, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ollie. I appreciate you. Thank you, Michelle. So
Thank
for me to answer your questions, how can we help to elevate humanity consciousness? Just thinking of the power of one. What does it mean? Because we are one. See, within your heartbeat, my heartbeat, and the heartbeat of humanity is the same. So whatever we think, whatever we do, whatever that we envision, we affect each other well-being in the collective consciousness of mankind. So if we can return to love by loving ourselves, healing our human heart and spiritual heart, from this place of deep healing, we will affecting that collective consciousness of humanity from fear to love. So that's what the power one is about. It's all about the higher value that we represent, and also to return to love by loving ourselves and loving each other.
Thank you, Kim.
I'm so not being rude. There's a spider, y'all. So I'm like paranoid right now. Like I couldn't catch it just when I went. So I'm here, but I'm gonna be off the camera.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
And so the hair on the wind. What are your final words, Angelica?
My
Before
final
you
word.
say them, I immediately just thought like this, like you're my hero song. That hero song, like, oh my God, what was it, like 1993? Was that Mariah Carey? Oh my God, You Are My Hero or whatever. Was it Whitney Houston? Oh my God. Your wind blowing and that breeze, how it just looked was, oh my God, so beautiful.
Oh, that's hilarious, Michelle. You're funny. What I was thinking, because you said to imagine, right, a world that you would love to see, and the world that I would love to see is one where everyone is showing love. After you show love, you're going to be kind, you're going to be forgiving, um, and you're going to overlook mistakes, because we all make them, right? Uh, a world where people are healthy and they don't have to worry about going to the doctors and having to pay a big bill for their medications, right? A world where the crippled are walking, um, where the blind can see. All of those things that we don't see right now. That's where I see a beautiful world where everybody can live in harmony and in peace and in love. So I gotta put the heart up again. So thanks a lot.
Yes.
And we're gonna speak it into realization.
It starts with us, right?
Yes.
It is. Start with us. Start with us. Whatever we thinking for ourselves, we pray for ourselves. We pray for humanity. Oh, it's interesting. I do this like the heart have wings.
Yeah, and for me, I will say there is two things. Many years ago, I've been watching a movie that is not anymore my favorite one from Ghibli, because now my favorite one from Ghibli is When Marnie Was There. But previously it was Nausicaa. And when I've seen your hair going to the wind, Angelica, I was thinking about Nausicaa, which is a princess in this movie. And the movie is in the future. It's the afterworld, where there is so much wars, and they are coming back to fight a world that is inhabitable. And I was listening to a song from Nausicaa, and the song is la 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 la. And so I love this song, by the way. And I was also thinking about the lyrics of John Lennon, of course. And you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one. And it's a particular song because I was knowing that in my childhood, but then I'm a huge TV fan, and I was watching something like Quantum Leap. And this is our quantum leap. This is the way that we cannot expect a world to be different if we don't act to make it more human, to make it more different. And in that, there was an episode where in that TV series, he goes back to another persona in the past, and he was hoping, by instance, in that kind of episode, to save Martin Luther King. He was not able to save him, but he was able to make some changes. So we might not be able to change the world, but at the same time, we are here in our physical body to do our best to change as much as we can. And in that TV series episode, he was also moved because he was singing the song of John Lennon. Uh, in the TV series episode, it was before John Lennon was killed, and he was telling to that guy that John Lennon died. And so it for me it's about doing our best to change the course of the world, because we are all envisioning a cataclysmic world, because we have seen so many sci-fi movies where we see the world going to the catastrophe. And for me, it's about making not the catastrophe happen by opening the heart, by leading with emotional intelligence, and by changing the next generation so that they will have a better world where they can advocate to heal the wounds of the past. So that's my final thoughts. Thank you so much. And we will probably have a part 3 in October or November. I don't know when exactly, but it's really because it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It's always it's constant work to do. It's like, okay, no checkbox. No, there is no checkbox to this.
Yes. So before we leave, can I closing with a poem?
Yes.
Yes, may I? So this is from my teacher, Dr. Barbara Brennan. She's a scientist. She's a scientist, former scientist, worked for NASA. She became a massage therapist. From massage therapist, she became a spiritual teacher and healer. So these are seeds of spirit, and I'm reading this one. I think it will encompass everything that you share, we share. The title of the poem is Sacred Journeys. Sacred journey we all each walk upon within our own soul evolution. So a channel from her spirit guides. Sacred journeys. It is to this personal work that we do together that you accomplish a great deal. You have gone to the edge of your boundaries and discovered the vastness of self. All of us together have entered into the sacred moment deep inside the void within, and again discovered a vastness of being. We have traversed together in the imaginary boundary between life and death, between life, shall we say, so-called life-threatening illnesses that lead to so-called death. And we have found that there is no such thing. We have found, in fact, there's nothing that is life-threatening, because life does not cease with a physical boundary that mankind have set for itself to eon of self-limitation. That is our sacred journey, my dear sister and brother, because we exist, our soul, our consciousness exists beyond our human body. Even though Jazz is no longer here with us, I felt her presence always when I come to join with all of you. So thank you for allowing me to share that poem. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all very much. Thank you. Let me ring the
For
bell.
sharing that. That was beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Love
Take care.
you.
Bye everyone.